Hello, I'm James Cridland, the radio futurologist, and every week I write a newsletter all about international radio trends. It's called Radioland, and you can find it at james.cridland.net/radioland. And this is it for September the 21st. The BBC adds new stations to DAB. Multi-platform radio offers a great opportunity to broaden brands and offer additional choice for wider appeal, and that has been particularly the case in the UK, where Virgin Radio was the first to add additional brand extensions, initially known as Virgin Radio Classic and Virgin Radio Wheels of Steel, back in early 2000. And in the main, these can offer yield management around advertising, ensuring that most advertisers buy across the brand network rather than solus stations. The BBC recently launched 3 new brand extensions on DAB Plus in the UK: Radio 1 Dance, Radio 1 Anthems and Radio 3 Unwind. The stations have been on BBC Sounds for a while, but have now made it to broadcast radio as well. And it's the first time that the BBC has broadcast national DAB Plus signals. Back in 2007, the industry was loudly proclaiming that DAB Plus would never come to the UK. It does mean that the BBC's DAB multiplex is now quite interesting. It's a mix of the heritage stations on original flavour DAB and then 3 DAB Plus services now squeezing in, with the brave choice of 32 kilobits a second being used, even for classical music. Radio 1, 2, 3 and 4 have all slightly decreased in audio quality, down from 128 to 112 kilobits a second. DAB Plus is the standard in most DAB countries these days. It's a nervousness about the large number of older DAB-only sets that means that the BBC hasn't switched entirely, but it's good to see new services making it to DAB broadcasting, which is significantly more popular than online. It gives the BBC more opportunity to reach audiences, and that can only be a good thing. While I was in London, I went to the Museum of Brands, and it's striking how much radio stuff is in there. It's a fun way to pass half an hour if you're ever in Ladbroke Grove, particularly if you like old-fashioned radios. More BBC outside the UK oddness. And they've got a full archive website of Alistair Cook's Letter from America, except if you press the Listen Now button, none of those work. It just takes you to a 404 error page. But you can also press the download button, and that works fine. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It was interesting to listen to CBC Radio 1 in Calgary in Alberta. The news bulletin at the top of the hour was quite fresh sounding. Some news stories just introduced using actuality rather than a newsreader introducing every news story first. It's quite a nice tweak to a standard 5-minute bulletin. It's worth listening in if you can. I would give you a recording of that, but I don't have access to one. Unfortunately, there seems to be no access to CBC Radio 1 Calgary on the service that I use, which is a bit of a shame. Now, as more of us work for ourselves, it's becoming harder for people to pick up the pieces if something happens to us. I wrote a piece over on Pod News about your digital legacy, but it's just as valid for people who work in radio as well. It's worthwhile giving it a read and seeing if it applies to you as well. And iHeartRadio will continue as a brand in Canada after Bell Media renewed, I should say, its agreement. Although, really, what option do they have? They've got a sizable install base within Canada. How would they transition to a new app if they decided that they didn't want iHeartRadio anymore? There's an interesting one. Anyway, thank you so much to Radio.co, to Clyde Broadcast, the radio people, and to Admaster for your kind support. Also Greg Strassel, Sam Phelps, Richard Hilton, Emma Gibbs, Jocelyn Abbey and James Masterton for being regular supporters as well. You can support this podcast and my work by buying me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/James Cridland. And you can follow me on all of the socials. If by all of the socials, I mean the ones that nobody uses. Mastodon, James at bne.social, or Blue Sky, I'm at james.crid.land. And my website has more details about who I am and what I do and whether I can help you further. You'll find that at james.cridland.net. And until next time, keep listening.